Hi, everyone. So I'm sure many of you saw that beautiful video going around by Oriya Goodman, Tamir Goodman's daughter, where she says that, she knows that this is a very heavy time and many of us are kind of being bombarded by news and we're scrolling on our phones. We don't know what to do with our attention. So she suggested working on our bitachon, and she grabbed a book. It was this book. It's a new version of Shaar Habitachon, printed by Kahas. So Shaar Habitachon is part of Chovos HaLevavos. Chovos HaLevavos was written by Rabbeinu Bechaya ibn Pekuda in around the year like 1080 or so. And it's something that's been around for many, it's been a source of strength for many Jews throughout history. And it's specifically something that the Lubavitcher Rebbe would give as advice when people felt like they were overwhelmed by life, that they should learn Shaar Habitachon. And he says, don't just read it through once. Spend weeks, going through it little bits at a time, and then do it again, and then do it again and again. This is like, meant to be like a constant companion. And there are many stories of people who, once they started learning this, that it really changes their perception of reality. And it's a good place to be. As the Lubavitcher Rebbe's used to say, tracht gut wird sein gut. When we think good, it will be good. We just tap into like a deeper place where we feel Hashem's love and our own security in that. So let's get started. The first, the introduction starts, it's called Babitachon al ha'elohim yisbarach levado, on placing our trust in God alone. And the Mechaber says, Mipnei shekadam ma'amarenu b'chiyuv kabbalas avodas ha'elohim, having previously discussed in the previous gate the obligation to accept the service of Hashem upon ourselves, Ra'iti la'avi acharav ma shehu tzarich yoter mikol hadvarim le'oved ha'elohim yisbarach. So I thought to bring now, to explain what's most necessary for a person to be a servant of Hashem. Vehu habitachon alav b'chol dvarav, and that is having trust in Him in everything, in every area. Ba'avur ma sheyesh bo min ha'to'alios hagdolos be'inyan ha'torah u'be'inyan ha'olam. Because by doing so, there will be great benefits, both in Torah matters and also in matters of everything, in every aspect of our lives. And he goes now into a concept of tranquility. And doesn't that sound wonderful to all of us? So here we go. V'to'alosav bo b'torato mehen. Among the Torah benefits is tranquility of the soul, menuchas nafsho, ubitchuno al ha'elohav yisbarach. And this will come as a result of a person's reliance on Hashem. Kmo she'ha'eved chayav liftoach al adonav, just as a servant has to place his trust in his master. That's where his everything is coming from: his food, his shelter, his clothing, possibly his family. Right? We don't really have this concept of Eved, and our concept of Eved is like a negative one. But let's say we have a master that takes care of all the needs of his servant. So then the servant trusts in the master, that the master is going to bring the food and is going to provide the shelter and the clothing that the servant needs on a daily basis. Mipnei she'im enenu boteach ba'elohim boteach bezulato. And this is very much it's a harif statement. It's a very sharp statement, but it basically says that if someone doesn't trust his place in Hashem, that means that they're placing their trust in an entity other than Hashem. And he goes into several psukim of showing that that doing that is a very, very scary thing. That should be much scarier for us, essentially. Not to go into a negative place, but that we should know that we can place our trust in Hashem. So we're going to stop there, but I just want to give one idea of something I was saying to a few people yesterday. That is that, when you think of a trust fall. Now, many of us have a problem with trust falls because we don't trust. But essentially, if a person is leaning on someone else, right? But that person is holding back and not leaning completely, then the person they're leaning on, they feel like, okay, I don't have to support this person so much because they're really holding themselves up and I don't need to. And but if a person really falls, chas v'shalom, a person's really faints away, then the person that's holding them doubles down on their efforts to provide support and to hold that person because they know that they're needed. And so, lahavdil, obviously, Hashem can hold us in every situation, but it's kind of up to us to have the trust to fall on him completely. Because when we don't fall on him completely, so we're relying on something other than him. And when we do fall on him completely, then he has the koach. He's big enough, mamash big enough, to hold us, to hold our fears, to provide a base and a support from which we can draw strength in the coming days. Be'ezrat Hashem.